Good evening, folks. My name is Shane Spencer, and I'm an author. First time author, let's just say that. I've got a book I'm working on. I'm working on because let's just call myself, I'm an avid military history buff. I like it. I'm not a historian, but I dabble. Anyhow, not quite sure where we're going tonight. Here's my question. I'm looking for answers, and I'm kind of writing a book trying to figure this question out myself. It's been bugging me. This idea. It's been bugging me a while. Tell me. Let's turn the clock back 30 years. It's 1994. Down the Arabian Sea, Straits of Hormuz, Persian Gulf. If you have to fight a modern Soviet guided missile cruiser with a frigate, you got an 8 pack of Harpoon missiles. How are you going to do that? So, anyhow, all that aside, I was thinking the other. No, I was about to say the other day. It was about a year ago. I was very bored, extremely bored. Work conference. Wasn't the most exciting thing, but I had a laptop, and I was in the middle of a bit of a Tom Clancy marathon. I was like, you know what? What if I did have a warship? I'm trying to fight something like that. I'm trying to use Cold War NATO surface warfare tactics. And let's just think about that for a moment. Uh, Cold War NATO, U.S., whoever, surface warfare tactics wasn't a whole lot. It was wait for wait for air power to come in and sink that sucker. Um, Unlike the Soviets, the Soviets got a plethora of anti-ship missiles, and they'd stack whole bunches of them. They're all supersonic and big old things, gigantic, and their focus is, well, how do we sink U.S. carrier groups? We can't build carriers, but we can build a whole bunch of fast uh, guided missile cruisers. We can have anti-aircraft destroyers. We can build Kirov class guided missile battle cruisers, for lack of a better term, that can defend themselves from mass air attack and then shoot out a whole ton of very deadly anti-ship missiles. We're gonna race out, hope we can get under the air cover, get through, survive long enough to launch our missiles, and then sink the U.S. carriers. NATO and the United States didn't have that kind of doctrine at all. The exact opposite. We've got Harpoon missiles. My understanding is for those, the original concept even of the Harpoon was to sink Soviet guided missile submarines, SSGNs, which used to have to surface to fire missiles, and so the idea is you'd have a missile to hit them. Of course, before it entered service, it was already pressed into the general anti-ship role. Um, you got it. That's how most NATO warships were. You have either 2 quad packs of harpoons, or maybe you'd have if, in the case of like an Oliver Hazard Perry, you'd have 4 to 8 harpoons in the magazine, along with your anti-aircraft missiles. It's whatever you could spare to fit a few in there. Um, I'd say the U.S. also had pretty decent luck using the SM-1 and SM-2 missiles in a surface-to-surface role, which they were designed to also be used for that. So, but the question is, how do you do that? Well, the book I'm writing right now is called The Letter of Marque. Okay, thinking about privateers, the letters of marque issued to privateers. You turn the clock even further back, the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries, 18th centuries, where you've got, like the British government, the crown issuing letters of marque to privateers. Even in the United States early history, that's much of what our Navy was privateers. In this fictional modern sense, if you've got a guided missile frigate, what do you do with that? What could you do with that? How could you construct one on short notice using existing hulls and equipment? Well, again, I've got a manuscript. Hopefully, it'll be published here in the next few months. We're preparing for that. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about a range of topics from books, mostly about naval history, naval technology, naval techno thrillers, or just techno thrillers in general, military thrillers. Think Tom Clancy, think Dale Brown, Stephen Koontz, guys like that. We're going to talk about those sort of books. We're going to talk about the actual naval tactics, the actual equipment, the actual technology. And to be frank, just about anything else that interests me. At the same time, I'm also going to promote my writing. I've never been a writer till now, but what I've prepared, I think, is a pretty darn good novel. It's acceptable for children, for adults, just about everybody. It's good family-friendly action. Good old-fashioned action. It's something that I think every adult, every father, mother, and child can get into and enjoy. There's nothing objectionable in it. As a Christian father, I want to write a book that my children can read. Once they're to the point where they can read a 300-page book, I want them to be able to read what I've written. I don't want to have to, you shouldn't be reading this section. You shouldn't be reading this passage. You can't say these words. You can't say those words. I want to write a book that's family friendly. That's what I've done. So, when it's out, it'll be out. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of a couple chapters, something like that, check out the profile. I've got an email address there. I've got a website there. Get in contact. I'll get you what I can. All right. And if you want to be an ARC reader, beta reader, alpha reader, however you want to call that, let me know. I might be able to help you out. Okay? I might be able to use the help. Anyhow, where was I going to go with this? If you've got any better ideas than I do, or if you think you've got better ideas than I do, you don't know what my ideas are yet. If you think you've got better ideas than me, leave them in the description. Email them to me. Let me know what you think. How would you command a guided missile frigate against a Soviet guided missile destroyer? One-on-one, mano-y-mano. It's quite a question. Think about it. Until next time, folks.